Space. Their questions arrived wrapped in space. Their questions arrived wrapped in concern, coated with phrases that sounded like love. And because you valued the connection, you answered, you reassured, you adjusted. Slowly, without noticing, you began editing yourself. You softened opinions before speaking them. You avoided topics that triggered tension. You replied faster than you wanted to. You apologized for needing time alone. You chose peace over authenticity, believing that compromise was the price of closeness. But closeness never arrived. Instead, the rules kept multiplying. What began as small requests turned into expectations. What started as concern became monitoring. And what felt like emotional safety slowly transformed into a quiet pressure you could not name. You told yourself this is what relationships require. Patience, understanding, flexibility. You believed love meant accommodating another person's insecurities. Yet something inside you felt increasingly crowded. Not hurt, not anger, just a subtle shrinking. You noticed it in the way you hesitated before expressing joy, afraid it might be misunderstood, in the way you rehearsed messages before sending them, in the way relief, not excitement, was what you felt when conversations ended without conflict. Still, you stayed, because leaving felt harsher than enduring, because you believed loyalty meant persistence, because you thought if you just loved better, communicated better, adjusted better, harmony would come. But harmony built on self-erasure is not harmony. It is surrender disguised as devotion. And deep down, in the quiet moments you rarely allowed yourself to hear, something within you began to whisper, this isn't connection. Real connection does not tighten its grip when you breathe, but control does. It arrives quietly, not as domination, but as dependence, disguised as closeness. They wanted constant updates, constant reassurance, constant proof that they mattered. If your response slowed, their mood shifted. If your attention moved elsewhere, their warmth cooled. You began to feel responsible, not only for your own emotions, but for theirs. And so you adapted. You checked your phone more often. You anticipated reactions. You chose words carefully to prevent misunderstandings that had nothing to do with misunderstanding and everything to do with insecurity. Peace became something you managed, not something you shared. This is how control replaces connection. Connection allows space. Control fears it. Connection invites honesty. Control punishes it. Connection trusts. Control monitors. You started noticing that your independence unsettled them. Your friendships required explanation. Your solitude required justification. Even your growth felt like distance to them, as though your evolving self threatened their sense of stability. So they asked for more time, more reassurance, more access to your thoughts, your choices, your inner world, not because they wanted to understand you, but because uncertainty made them uncomfortable. And without realizing it, you began shrinking your world to keep them calm. Your boundaries blurred, your needs postponed, your silence grew heavier than your words. Yet the strange truth was this: the more you gave, the less secure they seemed. The more you reassured, the more reassurance they required. The more present you became, the more they feared your absence. Because control is not fueled by love. It is fueled by fear of losing power. And somewhere within the quiet fatigue settling into your chest, you began to sense something unsettling. You were not being held. You were being managed. The change did not arrive as rebellion. It arrived as exhaustion, not the kind that sleep fixes, but the kind that settles deep in your spirit. The fatigue of constantly monitoring yourself. of translating your thoughts before speaking them, of carrying emotional weight that was never yours to hold. One day, you paused before replying, not out of strategy, but out of tiredness. And in that pause, something unfamiliar appeared. Relief. It was subtle, almost fragile. Like the first quiet moment after a storm you didn't realize had been raging for years. No tension in your chest. No urgency to repair a mood you didn't create. No pressure to perform emotional stability on demand. Just space. That space frightened them. Your delayed reply was met with questions. Your calm tone was interpreted as distance. Your silence was labeled withdrawal. The same stillness that brought you peace brought them discomfort. Because your stillness removed their leverage. For the first time, you were not reacting, not rushing, not smoothing the emotional terrain before they could stumble. You were simply present with yourself, and presence cannot be controlled. You began noticing how often urgency had been manufactured, how many conflicts were born not from truth, but from fear. How often you had abandoned your own needs to restore emotional balance that was never yours to maintain. You did not announce this realization. You just stopped over-explaining, stopped apologizing for needing time, stopped shrinking to prevent discomfort. And in that quiet shift, the dynamic began to tremble, because control survives through compliance, and compliance had begun to fade. You weren't fighting them, you were returning to yourself. And that was something they did not know how to hold. They sensed the shift before you spoke a single word. Control is perceptive that way. It notices distance even when distance is simply self-respect returning to its rightful place. The energy between you changed. You were still kind, still calm, still present, but no longer adjustable. And without your constant accommodation, the structure began to crack. They asked what was wrong. You said, nothing. They asked if you were upset. You said, no. They searched for the version of you that rushed to restore their comfort. That version no longer lived here because you had discovered something they never expected you to learn. Peace does not require permission. Silence is not rejection. Space is not abandonment. For a long time, their sense of stability depended on your responsiveness. Your reassurance fed their certainty. Your compliance sustained their control. But when you stopped supplying it, an unsettling truth surfaced, not about you, but about them. Without control, they felt powerless. Without constant access, they felt insignificant. Without your emotional labor, they felt empty. And that emptiness had always been there. Losing influence over you did not create their void. It exposed it. This is the moment many people misunderstand. They believe walking away is an act of punishment. It is not. It is an act of alignment. You are not abandoning them. You are abandoning the version of yourself that survived by shrinking. Stoic wisdom teaches that we do not control how others respond, only how we live in truth. And truth is quiet. It does not beg. It does not perform. It does not surrender its boundaries to maintain illusion. You did not leave to prove a point. You stepped back to reclaim your life. And in the stillness that followed, where tension once lived, something unexpected emerged. Clarity, lightness, freedom. Because connection never requires you to disappear. And the moment you stopped disappearing, you became impossible to control.